7091. Visit our website, 5starsoap.com, for buying our 1 to 2 month soap sampler. Thank you.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Okay, it's hour number 2. We just had Congressman Ron Paul on with us live for 30 minutes. I want to open the phones up in the next segment ahead of Pastor Anderson, who has now defeated the feds in court. They're trying to prosecute him for demanding his constitutional rights at an illegal checkpoint. So we're going to be talking to him briefly coming up in about 30 minutes, and I'll continue with calls into the third hour. I've got a bunch of health news I want to get into. The government lies to the American people about the safety of Gulf seafood. More and more scientists are coming out who've been out in the Gulf. They say there are fissures more than 25 miles away. They've capped the oil well, but it's already blown out deep underground in those fissures. There's a big cover-up there. I know you already know about that, but there's been new chapters in that. We'll also get into some other key reports dealing with new study. 85% of big pharma's new drugs are lemons and pose health risk to users. So the corruption is just intensifying, where the system doesn't care how corrupt they are. They're already out in the open as tyrants. They think their police state and their control of the courts to a certain extent is going to protect them. We'll be discussing that. Also, you're welcome to call in with your views on the Ground Zero Mosque. I think that once most New Yorkers got really upset about it and said we don't want it there, that if I was a Muslim and if I was planning to build it there, I might move it. But it is 2 blocks, big New York blocks away. So I see both sides, but I'm a property rights guy and a First Amendment guy, 110%. And so if we take their right to have that mosque there, I will lose my right. And this is going to set a very bad precedent. It looks like they're going to end up somehow defeating this mosque. And it's just a giant political diversion to reinvoke the clash of civilizations. Look, I love my Western culture. I'm a Christian. And I believe people should be Christians, but I'm not going to make them. But I know that we don't need to have wars with the Muslims, and that it's a very diverse group of people. And this whole thing is being used. And so you've got Republicans, many of them, wanting to censor and control people's First Amendment with this mosque and violate their property rights. And the Democrats, some of them are saying they're for it. But then on the other hand, you've got Nancy Pelosi, and we've got this clip coming up, saying we need to investigate, we need to find out who's behind this mosque protest. Well, it's the American people. That's just like when they said people were protesting Democratic Congress people at town halls who were for government-run health care. The polls show over 70%, and it's growing as they learn more, are against the government health care plan. That's not run by some special interest. Are there special interests that were involved against it? Yes. No, we're allowed in this country to have our views. People out there are allowed to have their view against that mosque. They're allowed to have a view for the mosque. But it doesn't matter if 51% say no to the mosque. We're a republic, not a democracy. In a democracy, we could say 51% say no Christian churches allowed. There'd be no Christian churches allowed. 51%, say only mosque allowed. Only mosque allowed. Or vice versa. Or vis-a-vis. Any configuration you want. In a democracy, you can elect Adolf Hitler and he can say Jews are not allowed to live here. They're going to camps. In a republic, the minority as well as the majority right is protected. And Muslim cultures do not have a good track record of being democratic or constitutional. They do have a good track record of being authoritarian. I also don't like Muslim groups coming into the country and trying to tell people what we can do with our First Amendment. I don't like stirring people up. I wouldn't draw a picture of Muhammad with his turban as a bomb. But you know what? Muslims don't need to come into this country and threaten people and threaten to kill them if they do that. You understand? So I don't like people making fun of Muhammad because it stirs people up, and I like to respect people's religion. But you know what? I got to support their right to do it. This is America. And I don't particularly like that mosque there because it's being used for propaganda purposes, but it's their First Amendment right. We'll be back with your calls. Stay with us.
Let me tell you a little bit about one of our great sponsors, HomeGain.com. This is the place to get you started buying or selling a home, finding a realtor, and getting any real estate questions answered. Go to HomeGain.com and see what I'm talking about. All you need to do is type in your home address, and you will get an instant free estimate of your home's value online. This is a great way to be able to monitor the value of your home. And again, it's absolutely free. There are tons of tools to help you. For instance, if you want to remodel your home, go to HomeGain.com. Use their Home Sale Maximizer to help you determine which home improvements can most increase your home's value before you put it on the market. For 10 years, these folks have been helping home sellers and buyers. Visit their link at Infowars.com. Look for Max, the orange Home Gain Gorilla, to help you with any real estate needs you might have. You'll love this site. It's HomeGain.com. HomeGain.com. Check them out today. Listen up, friends. This is Alex Jones with key information. The mainstream media is now admitting that we're going into a depression. Don't be dependent on the government for you and your family. You need to get your own supply of high-quality storable foods from eFoodsDirect.com. They're the best company out there, the longest continually operating, with a ton of great food to choose from. It's all fresh, made on a monthly basis, not some old cruddy food they're selling you like some of the other guys. Try their new Evacuation Pack, a 2-week supply of delicious, easy-to-fix food. It comes with all the equipment you need to prepare it. With open talk of a strike on Iran in the next 3 months, the crisis in the Gulf, and possible evacuations, get yourself and your family ready today. The place to go is eFoodsDirect.com. Go to their website online right now, eFoodsDirect.com/Alex, or call 800-409-5633. Again, on the web, eFoodsDirect.com/Alex, or give them a call at 800-409-5633.
The question is, where should the American people draw their line in the sand?
What have we got? A republic or a monarchy?
A republic is based on a constitution which protects minority rights.
Not democracy, not mob rule, 2 wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner.
So they think they own our land, they think they own our water, children, our education, our money.
We have to define who we are and what we will tolerate.
Somebody's going to ask you what you did during the Patriot Uprising.
You have been warned.
We have the facts. We have the Constitution. We have the Bill of Rights. We have common law. Knowledge is power, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm so excited to be able to offer you Don't Tread on Me, Rise of the Republic. Tyranny is upon us, but liberty and the sleeping giant that is the American people is rising. A new tool in the info war. Don't Tread on Me. Order it at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139 and support independent, patriotic Liberty Films.
Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
We are back live. Had Ron Paul on during the last hour. We're going to be taking your phone calls. There's a lot of issues here, but it mainly deals with the First Amendment, the right of religion, the press, the people, speech, expression, and property rights, also sacred in this country. So if they're able to stop that mosque from being built 2 blocks away from ground zero, all of us are going to suffer. Now, I think when the public started getting angry about it, that if I was a Muslim and it was my mosque, I would probably try to move it somewhere, understanding what a propaganda coup this is going to be against Muslims. But they are pig-headedly going ahead with it. And I'm starting to think it's staged as a perfect propaganda coup at a subconscious level with territorialism to invoke 9/11 again and to basically hype this up as a pretext for a clash of civilizations with Pakistan and Iran and Syria. And this is now the biggest story in the country. I haven't talked much about it in the last month, seeing it as a distraction. I've given you my view on it. I concur with Ron Paul's view on this. I mean, do we have property rights? Do we have religious rights in this country or don't we? And I'm consistent on this. I have come out and defended the Muhammad with a bomb on his head cartoons. I think it's distasteful. I think it stirs people up. It was designed to stir people up. And we've since had threats in the U.S. with other editorials making fun of Muhammad. I wouldn't do that, but you've got to support somebody's right to do it. You've got to support their right to build that mosque. You've got to support their right, people that don't like Islam, to make fun of it, or we're not America anymore. I was on Mancow this morning, and they had a supporter of the mosque on, not a Muslim, some establishment so-called liberal, far from a liberal. Thomas Jefferson was a liberal. This guy was no liberal. And he was telling me, well, you ought to be arrested. You and Rush Limbaugh and anybody else that thinks Obama was really an Indonesian citizen and his real name is Barry Soetoro. And this is Cass Sunstein at the White House's view. You disagree with man-made global warming, he says they should look at fining you or even arresting you. Well, whatever you believe about global warming, isn't it your right to say what your view is? I mean, this is so fundamental. This is so incredibly simple. But now Nancy Pelosi, who claims all the Tea Parties are fake, the Republicans have tried to take it over, but they've been unsuccessful to a certain extent. She's now saying she wants to investigate. We're going to play a clip of it from radio yesterday. She wants to investigate who's behind this. Who's behind it? Well, the media's hyped it, and the citizenry is angry about it. Okay? And the fact that Obama has come out in support of this, and it's now hitting him even worse in the poll numbers, it's very painful for me because I don't like to agree with Obama on anything. But quite frankly, this is a guy who's trampled on property rights and trampled on freedom with government-run health care and trampled on it with his carbon taxes. And he, quite frankly, to a certain extent, is right about this mosque situation. But Pelosi is wrong saying investigate anybody who is against this. It's their First Amendment right. These people are a bunch of thugs. Let's play that clip.
And I join those who have called for looking into how is this opposition to the mosque being funded? How is this being ginned up that here we are talking about Treasure Island, something we've been working on for decades, something of great interest to our community as we go forward to an election about the future of our country. And two of the first three questions are about a zoning issue in New York City.
That was KCBS 740 AM. So, we need to investigate. We need to look at people that are ginning this up. And that's what the diversities are at the FCC's called for. That's what more than, 8+ of the czars are talking about, government-appointed committees that decide in your city what can be on the air. And then they file complaints, and then you can't criticize things because it might stir people up. The whole system wants to censor, because once they're able to censor one group, they can censor everybody. It's so simple. Let's go to Daniel. Daniel, where are you calling us from?
Hi, Alex. This is Daniel from St. Paul, Minnesota.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm very nervous here. I'm calling about the amount of oil flowing into the Gulf from the oil spill. I've been a plumbing designer for almost 40 years, and there's formulas used for plumbing design that are based on the American Society of Plumbing Engineer data books. There's 4 books that come out. And the first book has an equation 1-8. It's for flow at outlet. The flow at the outlet in GPM equals 20 times the inside diameter of the outlet squared in inches times the square root of the flow.
No, I understand. So you know the math. What's your point?
Yes, sir. What that works out to is that very conservative, like 5,000 psi and a 5-inch wellhead outlet, that well was flowing 2 million gallons per hour. Now, that could have been abiotic oil, and it could have been 20,000 to 70,000 psi. They could have had a 7-inch wellhead on that. The reports I've heard of, I don't know for sure. I just took conservative figures for it and figured it out. And
yeah, the bottom line is they've been lying to us from the beginning, and now Obama says core exit is good for you and there's no health problems, and they say the oil flow is stopped and 70% of the oil's cleaned up, and that's a complete lie. They sprayed 40+ million gallons conservatively.